Greetings, everyone. Welcome to our channel. In today's video, we'll be delving into the fascinating world of Swedish cuisine. Swedish cuisine. Swedish cuisine is a delightful blend of traditional flavors, local ingredients, and seasonal produce that reflects the country's history, geography, and cultural influences. Traditional dishes. Meatballs, köttbullar, perhaps the most famous Swedish dish internationally. Meatballs are usually made from a mix of beef and pork, served with lingonberry sauce and potatoes. Swedish meatballs, or köttbullar, are indeed a celebrated dish from Sweden. They're typically made from a mixture of ground beef and pork, though variations with other meats or vegetarian options have gained popularity. The preparation involves combining the meats with breadcrumbs, egg, onion, and spices like allspice and nutmeg. This mixture is rolled into small balls and then cooked by frying, baking, or boiling. Traditionally, these meatballs are served alongside lingonberry sauce, a sweet tart condiment that complements the savory flavor of the meatballs perfectly. Lingonberries are small red berries that grow wild in Sweden and have a taste somewhat similar to cranberries. The side dishes accompanying meatballs can vary but often include boiled or mashed potatoes, creamy gravy, and sometimes pickled cucumber or salad. The dish is not only cherished in Sweden but has gained global recognition, thanks in part to the worldwide presence of IKEA, where Swedish meatballs are often served in their stores. Gravadlax, a Nordic way of curing salmon with a mixture of sugar, salt, and dill. It's thinly sliced and served as an appetizer. Gravadlax is a traditional Nordic dish that involves curing salmon with a mixture of salt, sugar, and dill. The name, Gravadlax, originates from the Swedish words, gravad, meaning buried, or cured, and lax, which translates to salmon. This dish has been enjoyed in Scandinavian countries for centuries and remains a popular delicacy today. The curing process involves coating a fillet of salmon with a mixture of salt, sugar, and finely chopped dill. Sometimes other spices or ingredients like black pepper, juniper berries, or even alcohol, like aquavit, may be added to enhance the flavor. The salmon fillet is then tightly wrapped in plastic wrap or placed in a shallow dish and covered with a weighted object to help press it down. During the curing process, which typically takes a few days, the salt and sugar draw out moisture from the salmon while infusing it with the flavors of the dill and other seasonings. This results in a firm texture and a delicate, slightly sweet flavor with herbaceous notes. Once the curing period is complete, the gravadlax is thinly sliced against the grain, producing translucent slices that showcase the marinated salmon's vibrant color. It's often served as an appetizer or part of a smorgasbord, a Swedish buffet, accompanied by traditional garnishes like mustard sauce, dill sauce, crisp bread, boiled potatoes, or pickled vegetables. Herring, pickled, smoked, or fermented. Herring is a staple in Swedish cuisine, often served with potatoes, sour cream, and red onion. Herring is a versatile fish that has been a significant part of Scandinavian cuisine for centuries, including Swedish culinary traditions. Here are details about the different preparations of herring commonly found in Swedish dishes. Pickled herring. This method involves marinating herring fillets in a mixture of vinegar, sugar, salt, and various spices. The marinade can vary widely, ranging from sweet to savory, and might include ingredients like onions, mustard seeds, dill, or even wine or aquavit, a Scandinavian spirit. The pickling process gives the herring a tangy and slightly sour taste. It's often served cold as an appetizer or part of a smorgasbord. Smoked herring. Smoking herring involves exposing the fish to smoke, typically using wood chips or logs, which infuses it with a smoky flavor. This method adds depth and richness to the herring's taste and can vary in intensity depending on the type of wood used and the duration of smoking. Smoked herring can be served as a standalone dish or incorporated into various recipes. Fermented herring, surströmming. While not as commonly associated with Swedish cuisine as pickled or smoked herring, surströmming is fermented herring that's been allowed to ferment in barrels for months. It has a strong, pungent smell and an acquired taste, making it a more acquired preference even among Swedes. Surströmming is often served with flatbread, potatoes, onions, and sour cream. Jansson's frelsels, a creamy potato and anchovy casserole, traditionally eaten around Christmas. Jansson's frestels, also known as Jansson's temptation, is a classic Swedish dish that's particularly popular around Christmas time but enjoyed throughout the year as well. It's a creamy potato and anchovy casserole with a rich, indulgent flavor. The dish is named after Pelle Jansson, a Swedish opera singer from the early 20th century. The story goes that he was known to be a gourmand and the dish was created in his honor. Here's a typical recipe for Jansson's frestels. Ingredients: 6-8 potatoes, peeled and thinly sliced. 2 yellow onions, thinly sliced. 10-12 anchovy fillets, chopped. 1 1/4 cups heavy cream. Butter for greasing the baking dish. Breadcrumbs, optional. Salt and pepper to taste. Pea soup, ärtsoppa. A thick yellow pea soup usually served with mustard and often accompanied by pancakes. Pea soup, or ärtsoppa in Swedish, is a traditional Scandinavian dish with deep roots in Swedish cuisine. It's a hearty and nutritious soup made primarily from yellow peas, often cooked with vegetables and sometimes flavored with ham or pork for added richness. Yellow peas. The primary ingredient, yellow peas, are soaked before cooking to soften them and allow for easier boiling. These peas give the soup its distinctive golden color and hearty texture. Vegetables. Onions, carrots, and sometimes leeks or celery are commonly used to add flavor and depth to the soup. They are usually sautéed before adding the peas and water. Meat, optional. Traditionally, pork or ham is added to the soup for extra flavor. Some recipes call for cooking the peas with a ham hock or bacon to infuse the soup with a smoky taste. However, there are variations that keep the soup vegetarian or vegan. Seasonings. Bay leaves, thyme, salt, and pepper are often used to season the soup. Some variations might incorporate a touch of sugar or honey to balance the flavors. Mustard. It's customary to serve pea soup with a dollop of strong, grainy mustard. The sharpness of the mustard contrasts beautifully with the richness of the soup, adding a zesty kick to each spoonful. Accompaniments. Pea soup is commonly served with pancakes, particularly thin pancakes known as pannkakor in Swedish. These pancakes are often topped with lingonberry jam, providing a sweet contrast to the savory soup. Crayfish, crafter. Crayfish parties are a Swedish tradition, typically held in August when crayfish is in season. They're boiled with dill and served cold. Crayfish, also known as freshwater lobsters or crawdads, are crustaceans resembling small lobsters, found in freshwater habitats such as streams, rivers, lakes, and ponds. They belong to the superfamilies Astacoidea and Parastacoidea, and they're widely distributed across the world, especially in Europe and North America. In Sweden, crayfish parties, kraftskiva, are a beloved tradition, celebrated in August. Historically, crayfish harvesting was limited to late summer due to regulations, and this tradition evolved as a way to mark the beginning of the crayfish season. During these gatherings, people come together to feast on these freshwater crustaceans. The crayfish are typically prepared by boiling them in salted water seasoned with dill, which gives them their distinct flavor. Some recipes also include other herbs and spices, but dill is a key ingredient. Once cooked, the crayfish are chilled and served cold. The meal is often accompanied by other traditional Swedish dishes like västerbottensen cheese, bread, various sauces, and, of course, plenty of snaps, a type of Swedish schnapps or aquavit. Decorations for these parties often include paper lanterns, tablecloths, and napkins adorned with images of crayfish. Partygoers often wear colorful hats and bibs, adding to the festive atmosphere. Bread and pastries. Knäckebröd, crisp bread, often made with rye flour, is a common staple. Knäckebröd, also known as crisp bread or Swedish crisp bread, is a type of flat, dry bread that originated in Sweden and has become popular in various Nordic countries. It's a staple food in these regions and is often made primarily from rye flour, though wheat or other grains might also be used. Ingredients and production. Rye flour. Traditionally, rye flour is a key ingredient. Rye provides a distinct nutty flavor and a dense texture. Yeast. Some recipes use yeast for leavening, while others rely on baking soda or sourdough starter. Water. Essential for mixing the dough to the right consistency. Salt. To enhance the flavor. Kanelbuller. cinnamon buns that are sweet, aromatic, and popular for fika, coffee break. Kanelbullar, or Swedish cinnamon buns, are delightful pastries that have become a symbol of Swedish baking. These buns are sweet, aromatic, and commonly enjoyed during fika, the Swedish coffee break ritual. Here are some key details about kanelbullar. Dough. The dough for kanelbullar is typically made with flour, yeast, milk, sugar, butter, and often a hint of cardamom. It's a soft, enriched dough that provides a perfect base for the sweet filling. Filling. The filling consists of a mixture of softened butter, sugar, and cinnamon. Some variations might include chopped nuts or raisins in the filling, adding extra texture and flavor. Dairy and desserts. Princess cake, Smorgastarta, a classic Swedish layer cake with sponge cake, raspberry jam, vanilla custard, and whipped cream, covered in green marzipan. Ostkaka, a Swedish cheesecake made from curdled milk or cottage cheese. Seasonal and regional influences. Foraging tradition. Sweden's forests offer wild berries like lingonberries, cloudberries, and blueberries, often used in jams, desserts, or sauces. Seasonal ingredients. Due to the climate, the cuisine heavily depends on seasonal produce, with emphasis on root vegetables, mushrooms, and game meats during colder months. Modern fusion. In recent years, Swedish cuisine has embraced a fusion of traditional recipes with global influences, resulting in innovative dishes. Sustainability. There's a growing emphasis on sustainable and organic ingredients, aligning with Sweden's focus on environmental consciousness. Swedish cuisine embodies a balance of hearty, comforting dishes and a newfound exploration of innovative flavors, all while staying connected to its roots in local produce and traditions. If you found value, entertainment, or information in our video content, we kindly encourage you to consider subscribing to our channel, as your support not only motivates us to create more engaging content but also ensures you stay updated with our latest releases and contribute to the growth of our community.